In this video, I analysed the end scene from Helluva Season 2, Episode 8. This was by far one of my favourite analyses to do. Hope you guys enjoy. Ooh, it's a big video today. Well, you already heard the intro. I'm not going to go over it again. Let's just do it. So Stolas is there, kind of pondering, also a bit nervous, playing with his fingers to try and take his mind off it, maybe lower down the anxiety levels a little bit. But overall, there's nothing that can console him in this moment because of how big it is to him. It doesn't matter how hard he tries, there's nothing that he could do right now. All he has to do is just sit and wait for him to show up, which is what he's doing. Look at him, his feet as well. Oh, he's trying so hard to just stay calm, which I'm pretty sure we all do in anxiety-ridden situations. Maybe it's an awkward silence or an awkward conversation, and we're just sat there fiddling with our thumbs or something like that. Just having something in your hand to fiddle with while you're speaking to someone or doing something that may be a bit out of your comfort zone. It's just a way of consoling you, trying to keep yourself calm in that situation. But I think it's really cool that the animation team or whoever directed this decided to put that in there because it's a realistic display and a relatable display of what people do on a day-to-day basis. So the fact that it's implemented into Stolas' actions here is honestly perfect. I honestly couldn't ask for a better way to show this on screen. With Stolas in a room on his own waiting for Blitz, this would be the best way to put it out there. There's no other way that I could possibly think of that would match up to the realism of this. The fact that it's so relatable and realistic is what makes this minuscule thing so good. And it's always those little things that tie it together that make it what it is and how great that it is. So them giving Stolas this sense of realism and relatability to us is the best way to go about it because it shows that he's not this huge, powerful prince in this fictional world. He's just as human as we are when it comes down to the basic human emotions in quotes that we adopt as something that comes from us specifically. Great stuff. So concerned. Oh, you gotta love him though. Oh, here's the big man.
Hidey-ha-hoo-ha, Stolas.
Blitz is so unaware of the situation. Yeah, he has his own little things going on in his head that make him think, and he's trying to avoid Stolas' mild questions. He doesn't really have that much of an awareness that Stolas wants to get out of this, which is where Stolas is in the wrong. I'll get to that later. And it's not all Blitz's fault because there's no way for him to know that Stolas is considering this huge decision, and he himself isn't comfortable with feeling like he's a monster by trapping Blitz in this cycle.
Guess what I got for us? I got lots of fun shit for—
Notice how he's staying in the light. The light from the window is very symbolic here because the darkness of Stolas' room shows that it's about to get deep. So Blitz comes in all happy, jolly, and without any thought that anything serious or monumental could happen. So he flies in from the balcony, which I guess is a routine that he does every time they meet up, and he's just as optimistic as every other time, or even more optimistic because he's not seen him for a bit. But Stolas is completely distraught, and he really doesn't want to break Blitz's happy spell at the moment, but he knows that he has to because of how important it is and how much more genuinely happy he may be if he gets out of this deal with Stolas. But Blitz has no desire for the change at the moment, really. He's just rolling with it because that's what he does all of his life. He's just rolling with everything. He's so used to it that he just doesn't think he can uprise.
Play with tonight, like this extra large candle that smells like horny.
So Blitz is being his usual self and just trying to arouse Stolas just as any other time he would do the same. And he's still in the light. Let me remind you, he's still in the light from the window. And what I mean by that is the light from the window is red, just like Blitz, majority red, and it's bright. So Blitz is coming in from the light and he's all optimistic, but as soon as Stolas tells him to give him the book, he steps out of the light from the window and goes into the darkness of the room. The darkness of the room symbolizes Stolas' depressive state and how serious, you know, it's about to get dire right now. Things are amping up.
And look at this bad boy.
Blitz is really fascinated by the stuff he's bought, so he's not paying attention to Stolas right now. He's in his own world. It's only when Stolas speaks up that he realizes, wait a minute, I should stop smiling. He's staying in that realm of sexual arousal, trying to get Stolas in that mood like he always does every single time. Like I say, it's a routine, so he wouldn't break that. Why would he have a reason to? All he's done this time is because they haven't seen each other for a while. He's gone on a little shopping spree and bought some stuff for him, which is quite thoughtful. But Stolas sees this as more important than what Blitz has done for him this time. All the things that he's bought for this ritual thing they've got going on, he sees as irrelevant because this is the most important thing. He's not interested. So Blitz is trying really hard to make it special. He still thinks that Stolas wants to keep it sexual and doesn't want to make anything more of what they have, which is quite special, but also very flawed. There are hints such as episode 7 and things like that, where Stolas asks Blitz, why did you choose to bring me out after all this time? Blitz just completely deflects the question and tries to make up an excuse, and then obviously gets interrupted by Fizzarolli showing up. So there are hints there, but not enough for Blitz to grasp, because he as a person hasn't grew up knowing how to adapt to the signs. He thinks that everyone's out to get him and out to use him. He thinks Stolas was using him. He probably thought that Veronica was going to use him, and that's why he stole a credit card and did whatever, 3 rings to wrath, blah, blah, blah. Because people have used him all his life. Like, his dad used him for the circus and for money for ages. Just extorted him for all that, and then as soon as he made one little mistake, he was banished from the family, and everyone hates him. He also runs a business, which people use him for the service, and then nothing more, which is fine. That's how a business works, but it does add to that in a subtle way. See, he's smiling. He doesn't realize he's actually having fun and trying to make things as entertaining as possible, and Stolas is just not interested in it. And that's what makes Blitz think that he's not doing enough for Stolas, as he says in a little bit. He thinks he's not enough, and this is just where it starts. Or where those thoughts are brought from the subconscious to the conscious, because really, he's always thinking that he's not doing enough. But as soon as he sees Stolas' expression after he tried so hard, those subconscious thoughts, well, they're right here now, baby. You're thinking about him.
Do you have my book, Blitz?
See how he corrected himself? He's gonna ask him in a very casual manner, but went, no, I have to keep it serious. It's like he wants to have a serious conversation, but he can't do it in the right manner. Blitz isn't used to serious conversation, so you might have to try and use maybe humor, or at least bring you into it. Bring your personality into what we're talking about. Because this isn't the real Stolas. This is him putting on an act, being serious, because it's a serious conversation, but Blitz doesn't know how to be serious. So one way you could go about it is by being casual and bringing it up as the forefront of a conversation, saying, oh, we need to have a serious conversation, but listen, there's no change from me. Just stay as yourself, maybe a bit more serious, not too much, and get your point across. But Stolas goes completely deadpan, which is shocking to not only Blitz, but the viewer as well. Like, why is Stolas so different? But anyway, in my opinion, I think that Stolas should have taken this at a more casual point of view and slowly made it go a bit more serious, kind of interacted with Blitz a little bit before he brought this up, to make it seem less out of the blue, really.
Yeah, it's right here. I always bring it. Why do you...
He's stuttering. Blitz is stuttering. He's completely caught off balance. And the little voice crack in Brandon's voice, that was... Oh, dude. It's so good. The direction of the voice acting in this show is so unbelievably good. And the way that Blitz just cracks. And he's so caught off guard that he starts to shatter. Like a sudden weight's just been bashed upon him. And he's cracking under all that pressure. That's what he's doing now. Exactly that.
I need it back. Permanently.
No.
See how his expression changes. For a split second there, he was like, what? Completely caught off guard, like no other emotion but shock. And then he puts that smile back on like, oh, you know, you don't need to do this. He's genuinely worried because all he's got is his business. That's all he thinks he has. All the people around him, Millie, Moxie, Stolas, Luna even, he doesn't know how to get close to in a correct and boundary inclusive manner. Like, as we see with Blitz, he's very out there. He says his thoughts aloud unless they make him seem weak. And that's one of the cons of him. He doesn't know how to respect boundaries and be serious in serious situations, but it's not necessarily his fault, is it? He never asked to be born in a circus with parents who treat him like crap. But one thing he could do is try and look around and realize that people don't take well to his personality. Maybe it's time for a little change. Maybe it's time to be a bit more inclusive and aware while in conversation and notice what you're saying. All it takes is a little bit of self-awareness. No matter where you come from, what background you're from, we all have that ability to have a bit of self-awareness. Even if it's really hard to dig up from the depths of your personality, it's there somewhere. And if you can just find it and just observe a little bit more and try and be a bit more aware when you're speaking, even if it's a little bit aware, as long as it's there, then that'll go a long way. Because if you increase your self-awareness, you're just going to keep increasing it over time, very slowly. Even if there's only a little bit there that you can find, use that little bit and expand it and make it stronger like a muscle until you've got so much self-awareness that you then realize that you can now think rationally. Being aware of yourself and what you're saying and how it impacts the room around you is the first step to understanding people, because if you can understand yourself, you can then expand out to understanding other people, and then you can notice things like when Stolas is uncomfortable. Though I don't blame Blitz, and I'm not trying to give him advice, I'm just saying that a little bit of a wake-up call can go a long way, and this may be it, because he's sealed away all the things that happened in the past, with his parents, with Fizz, and even Veronica, which is more recent, I'm guessing. Having something happen in that present moment may be a little bit of a wake-up call, because he has more of a connection to Stolas that he doesn't really understand, and when it comes so out of the blue like that as well, the way that it just hits him like a truck, because he was criticized his whole life in the circus, and with Veronica he did something deliberately that caused them to split, but with Stolas it's so arbitrary that you'll think about it even more, and he may not even push it down into the depths of himself. He might try and build on it, and that's what Apology Tour is going to be. Instead of sealing away all his trauma in a cave, tightly packed together at the back of his mind, never to be reopened, he's actually going to build upon it, and that's what I hope that he does, because neither of them are perfect, I'll tell you that.
Hold on, Stolas, come on. Is this because I've taken up skipping a few rounds? sounds with you in bed because I'm busy.
He's trying to rationalize the situation now, isn't he? He's trying to think, what could it possibly be? Well, why? What? He's just saying stuff off his head. He's not thinking rationally. Like I said, he doesn't really understand how to think rationally. So this is a default reaction for him. It's really upsetting to see someone so broken. And we've not even got to Stolas yet.
That ain't fair. All right, I can still hold up my end of the bargain. All right, let me show you a good time tonight.
So he's trying to win him over, to bring back that side of Stolas that he knows and quite frankly loves. Maybe, maybe not in a weird way. He doesn't want it to change because he's afraid that it'll change and things will go bad. So Blitz is just trying to bring it back to where it was, back to his comfort zone, where it's just him and Stolas once a month, because he's too afraid to step out of that zone and go and do things that will benefit him way more than just staying there, because all the things that you want are on the other side of that. And if he wants a relationship with Stolas that he's very much put at the back of his mind at the moment, he's gonna have to get out of that comfort zone and just do it, which he's unfortunately not done. He's trying to bring him back to where he feels most comfortable. And look at this scene, the light with Blitz and the darkness with Stolas. Take his hand and bring him to the light where he was just a few seconds ago, and he still is now. The light is symbolic of his comfort and where he wants to be right now in this moment. But if you thought about it, the majority of things that he actually wants are outside of that light. They're in the darkness. And instead of bringing the darkness to the light, why not bring the light to the darkness? Why not expand that? Expand that zone even more, so it's not just limited to what you do right now. Expand it towards Stolas instead of trying to bring him back to where you feel most comfortable. But obviously Blitz doesn't know how to do that, and it's really upsetting. Though the direction of this scene is honestly perfect. Jesus, guys, you guys really outdid yourselves.
No, I can.
Please don't say it like that, Blitz.
See, Blitz is trying to default back to that sexual tone because he knows that's what always works with Stolas, but it's not going to work this time, unfortunately, for Blitz. It won't work. He's not going to allow it. You can see Stolas is uncomfortable because though he really wants it, and he shows that in a minute, he would want it, but he knows what's better for him. He knows that indulging in Blitz again is self-destructive for both of them, so he wants them both to be free, and to him, most importantly, Blitz to be free. The way that Stolas acts in this moment is so telling of the person that he's become.
Come on, bitch. You know I don't disappoint.
No. There's no need.
Blitz takes a hands-on approach, just like he did the first time that he met Stolas after those 25 years. He tries to force it upon him, to force him to like it. And Stolas, genuinely for a second, falls for it, but then realizes he's got to correct himself. The amount of will that Stolas has right now is honestly really great. Stolas is doing a great job at keeping himself composed at this moment in time. To keep on track, to chase his goal, chase his dream, and not find any of those easy, quick dopamine ways out. Stolas has decided that he's no longer going to run away from it. He's no longer going to put it off. He's just going to go for it and do what he needs to do and stop finding the easy way out. He's going to go all in, which is what he's doing now. And that's honestly, God, there's no word. My vocabulary is not big enough to find another word apart from amazing, perfect. I don't know. It's good, guys. It's really good.
I've made up my mind.
Stolas, please, I need this book. Please, I need this book, Stolas.
Blitz is getting genuinely upset, and it might not just be because he needs it for the business. I don't think that's what this is. There's more to this situation, because if he's so pleased, he could just go and find an incubus or a succubus and make them open the portal for him, trap him in a cage, and force them to do his bidding. Blitz has that power. He has the manpower to go and capture someone with an Asmodean crystal assigned to them and force them to open the portal, just like he did in episode 5. Though he doesn't, he settles for the book. I mean, this guy kills people for a living. It should be really easy to just find someone with a crystal and make him do it. But no, he insists on keeping the grimoire. There's more to this. There's no way it's because of the business. He wants Stolas because that's when he feels truly happy, is when he's with Stolas. But he's just not too aware of it. He's a mix of both. He's upset, and in his mind he's thinking because of the business, but in his heart he's saying it's because of Stolas. When he's having fun on a usual arrangement, his mind is thinking, it'll be over with in a minute, just get it done. But his heart and his body is saying, this is amazing, I enjoy this. So there's a real disconnect in Blitz here, that he doesn't love himself. Therefore, he doesn't come to terms with what his heart is telling him, and he doesn't follow his heart. And that's what leads to this. He's crying, and he doesn't understand why. His brain is trying to rationalize it, but you just can't, because your brain can't do the rationalizing. The only thing your brain can do is stop ignoring and running away from what your heart is saying, because your heart knows the truth. And that's where the disconnect is in Blitz. The fact that he isn't connected with himself and accepting of who he is. He's just doing everything off the conscious, while suppressing all of his weaknesses to his subconscious. Instead of just accepting him, he's running away. It's upsetting, really, to see Blitz like this. We don't see him this sad, apart from the end of episode 7, where it's connected to his family. But with the Stolas situation, we don't see this side of him.
I will do anything.
This is an Asmodean crystal.
Look at Stolas' face. He's so happy now because he's done it. He said it now. All he has to do is explain it, but he's done the hard bit, which is showing him the crystal. Now he's already got it out of the way. All he has to do now is explain what it is and how he can use it. But then it does get a bit harder at the end when he has to say why he's chosen to make the decision, but it's because he cares for him. But right now, he's halfway there. One of the 2 anxiety motivators completely gone.
It's registered in your name.
What?
Asmodeus.
See how Stolas is filled with wonder. He's so happy. He's in a mood where he's like, I've done it, and I've done it. You know, it's happened. And obviously Blitz is going to be confused. That's just a given at this point. But to see how Stolas reacts to this, extremely happy for him.
Has his demons legally travel to Earth for work all the time?
I really like that silhouette of Blitz. I think it's just funny. If we just go back for a second, it's just really funny. I don't know why.
I made the case for you to own one. You will be technically under his jurisdiction, but you will be able to go anywhere you want in the human realm without fear of consequence.
So Stolas is just explaining what the Asmodean crystal does, basically telling Blitz all the positives, saying, hey, you'll be free from me. Here's how I got one. Here's what it does. Complete freedom, apart from the jurisdiction that you're under, which is Asmodeus's, which I think may cause some problems in the future. But anyway, we obviously know that Blitz takes this and he does use it in future episodes as seen in the trailer. To see how happy Stolas is and how confused Blitz is, those 2 sides merge together to create this great scene that characterizes the characters completely accurately. Anyway, though it was a long clip, there's not much to say.
Without breaking demon law, you no longer need my grimoire.
See how Stolas wedges it between those 2 books, saying without breaking demon law, just settling that sentence, closing it off with a smile, happy, chill, confident, so many different things going on with Stolas right now. It's just joy, because he's finally done what he's wanted to do this whole time. But Blitz still doesn't understand because of how out of the blue it is. So though Stolas is doing really good right now, the same can't be said for Blitz, because he doesn't understand. I think there is a possibility here that Stolas is blinded by his own joy and happiness. Therefore, he doesn't understand that Blitz is confused. So he doesn't really pick up on that and expand what he's saying. Though he does, in a second, give his motivations behind it, which is very beautiful. And the fact that he wedged his grimoire between the 2 books that he read as a child, God, it's perfect. Anyway.
What?
You no longer have any obligation to see me, to touch me, to bed me. You are free of me.
So Blitz is still confused, quite frankly, but Stolas is completely different now. He was full of joy, and then he immediately thought about the negatives, that you don't need to do this anymore. Bringing that choice into the equation also brings in dread and sadness for Stolas, because he realizes that Blitz can just choose not to see him. There is no obligation, and that's where it hits Stolas the most, because he realized, wait, if he chooses to, then I might not see him ever again. And it's daunting for him, and he had thought about this before, but it hadn't truly hit until this moment when he revealed it, and that makes him really sad. Influence is a depressed emotion, though he knows deep down, and he'll bring it back up in a minute, he knows that it's for the best.
I don't understand. Why are you giving me this? Am I not, like, fucking you good enough? Because I can always do better.
First thing I want to tackle is the way that Blitz looks up as he's speaking. He's like nodding his head and trying to get closer to Stolas and looking up to him in a weird way. It's as if he has a slow incline towards Stolas. He's like, I can always do better, and he's shaking his head and getting closer and closer. That is such a good thing to show in the visuals there, to prove to us how desperate Blitz is. But now the big task at hand, the fact that Blitz doesn't think he's good enough. That Stolas is leaving him with this new thing, saying that he's free of him, he doesn't have to come around anymore, because he's not good enough. That's how Blitz takes it, because all of his life, he's never been good enough for anyone. And that's then migrated over to his adult life, where he still thinks he's not good enough for anyone, and any type of rejection or change that influences or affects the frequency in which he sees someone, whether it's more or less, he thinks he's not doing good enough. And it's upsetting to see how hurt he's been. The effect that this has had on his life, from the day he was fully conscious all the way till now. He's always been a failure, and now that's all he takes from it. He thinks he's a failure all the time. It's really upsetting for him.
I'm giving you this because I care very deeply for you.
Look at the way that he puts it on. God, the magic and the wonder, the power that comes from that. It's supposed to be an uplifting moment, and Stolas is saying that he cares very deeply for Blitz, and that's why he gives it to him, because he cares, and he said it now. He said, I care, that he has feelings. Blitz is so blown away by this that unfortunately he doesn't take it seriously, but the fact that Stolas has said it is great growth for Stolas, and also in turn a great show of how Blitz reacts to these certain situations. We get to see more of how Blitz reacts to this stuff, but we also get to see more development for Stolas as he grows. They're both such confusing characters and very in-depth. The way that Helluva portrays these types of personalities is honestly on point. It's as if they have a Blitz in the studio with them, and a Stolas, and a Millie, and a Moxie, and arguably they do. The voice actors themselves are very similar to these characters. The characters are rooted in their voice actor a lot of the time. You get to see some of Brandon come through. You get to see some Brandon come through Blitz, and some Bryce come through Stolas, some Vivian through Millie, and some Richard through Moxie. There's always little bits sprinkled in there that you can pick up on. And the fact that they have such talented actors in the studio who are intelligent and they know what they're doing, and they, in a way, understand people as well. It's not just Vivian and the writers. The voice actors also contribute, very much Richard as well, because he is the coach for all the other voice actors, and he himself is quite wise. People don't say this, but Richard is quite wise. He's very intelligent. So having this big team of not only writers, but voice actors who know and understand people, and how that can be interpreted in the show, is a gift, isn't it? It's really cool.
And I have for some time. But this transactional thing we have, it's not right anymore. It hasn't been.
Stolas is being very open now. He's saying it's not right anymore. It never was. He's making a statement that very much will resonate with Blitz because of how truthful it is. And even if Blitz is taking it as a joke or roleplay, he'll still think about it in the retrospect when he realizes that that was all genuine. And to see Stolas pouring his heart out like this is amazing. Though I do feel for Blitz 100%. I'm on both of the sides. There's no side taken, you just can't, because they're both so complex that you just can't pick one, because no one's in the right and no one's in the wrong. They've both done things that could have always been done better, which you can always improve every single time. But when it comes to these two characters, the things that they could change are quite huge. You know, Stolas could have given some more hints beforehand, or tried to make it easier of a conversation to have, you know, as I said before. And Blitz, we haven't really got to the nitty-gritty of him yet, because he hasn't opened up as much, but when he does, I'll discuss the things that he could have changed. Though we can't dwell on the past, all we can do is try and keep it positive here.
Never was. And now all I can see is how wrong it is to be so tethered to someone in such an unfair way.
Stolas is just speaking his mind now, speaking his heart, pouring it out all into the air and just getting it off his chest. And the fact that I have nothing else to say for this part truly shows how magnificent of a scene it is. The way this scene is directed makes it so easy to understand from an outsider point of view what Stolas thinks, because he's saying it. He's using a form of dialogue where he just speaks his mind and just spits to the audience what he thinks, and it works so incredibly well here, because that's how it should work in this situation. Great job to the writers team for making me, a guy who analyzes things for like an hour of video, be at a loss for words. Like, I don't know what to say. There is nothing that I could possibly say. Anyway, I'll move on from it, but just want to say, great job.
And not know how they feel.
See Blitz's face. He's genuinely convinced for a second, which he should be, because Stolas is telling the truth. But until he tries to deflect it, Blitz is feeling this. He's feeling the emotions. And though he's not showing it too much, the way that his mouth is positioned and how his eyes are drawn with his eyebrows and everything, that expression that he has, while subtle, can give us an insight on what's going on inside his head. And let me just say, it's not good and good. It's both, because he's having a realization moment and a bit of hope, but then he's also having these dark thoughts as well that are saying, just shut it down. No, just hide it, shield it. Don't want to show that emotion. And it's crazy how one expression can tell us so much. The way they project Blitz allows us to read him in such an incredibly weird way.
You to continue to be who you are, your business.
So Stolas is trying to make it light now. Blitz is still confused, but Stolas is just trying to keep himself happy and try and make Blitz happy. Maybe he can crack a genuine smile here. And I also want to go back to that scene where Blitz says that he'll do better, because when he says that, it's as if he's talking to his father, because he would say that when he was young, seeing as he was never good enough for his father, so he'd say, I can do better, I'll do better. And now he's saying it to Stolas, because Stolas has the power to get rid of the book. And he sees Stolas as an elite royal who doesn't care about him. He sees Stolas as more powerful than him, just as he sees his dad, an authoritative force who is so much higher and more important than he is. But really, is that how it is? We know it's not. But the way that he reverts back to his childhood is heartbreaking, truly. He feels he needs to prove something to Stolas in order to make him reconsider his decision and give him the book back, because he thinks it's a bad thing by that point. He thinks Stolas is taking this away from him because he's not good enough, like I said. So incredibly heartbreaking. And another way of showing how his childhood has affected him up until this day.
You don't have to stay here with me.
See how he just pops up then? And the sound effect as well. It draws our attention to him. That sound effect there made us look at Blitz so we can see his expression. But the way that he's shocked by the fact that Stolas says that, you don't need to come here anymore. It's completely your choice. And I think Blitz takes it as, I don't need you anymore, as opposed to, I'm doing this for you, which is why he tries to deflect it as roleplay later on.
But I want you to.
Look at that smile as it slowly, gradually increases. He wants Blitz. He truly wants him. And oh god, so upsetting to see how Blitz takes this because he doesn't understand. And it's so sad because both of them have had horrible shit happen to him and it's messed them up. And also how Stolas takes his hat off when he says this. He says, I want you to, and takes it off. It's a sign of respect, just like how you take your hat off at a funeral, things like that. It proves how much respect you have for a person. And the way Stolas does this, the fact that he takes his hat off for Blitz to show his respect, it's just an insight on how much he cares for Blitz and how he probably sees him as above too. Just as how Blitz sees Stolas as above, Stolas sees him as above, but for a different reason. He sees Blitz as more important than him when it comes to himself. He would always put Blitz first, which is what you do with family. You always put them first. Family and friends, they go first in a lot of people's moral code. And the fact that we can see this through Stolas further enhances that relatability that he has. Though it is still sad to see how Blitz sees Stolas as well as someone of immense power who doesn't need him anymore, which is really upsetting. Though the only thing we can do right now is keep on analyzing.
I want you to stay here with me because you want to.
See the way that Blitz kind of moves then because Stolas moves forward because of how happy he is, because of the fact that he wants to get this point across. He wants to add this bit. He's like, don't say anything. I'm going to jump in real quick. I'm going to say what I want to say. The last thing I want to say is that I do want you, Blitz, but only if you want to stay with me. I will stay with you if you stay with me. I'm not going to force myself upon you like I have so many other times. And the way this is shown in the animation, as Stolas leaps forward to get this final bit in, it shows to us how important that bit is to him. And it's more realism. When you want to contribute something really important to an argument that you have or someone else has, you'll jump in, you'll physically leap forward to prove your point. And that's what Stolas does.
Only if you want to.
See how the wonder is completely dropped out of his eyes as soon as he tries to redirect this scene. Blitz goes from genuinely in awe, having thoughts of wonder and happiness, but he doesn't want to show it, so he acts confused. And he is confused, he's shocked, but he's also happy. Though he doesn't show that, he only shows the shocked and unbelieved emotions. Though that subtle bit where the light is drained from his eyes as he redirects this, sad, man, it's sad.
Okay, alright, you're fucking with me. This is an interesting roleplay, never done.
Look at Stolas' face. I never noticed that before. Oh my god. He's so sad. That is distraught. That's horrible. He's actually upset. Well, he would be, but god, who drew that? Look at him. Jesus.
This one, but I can get into it. Alright, how's this? Alright. Oh, Stolas, I'll stay with you. I love you so much.
To see that this is Blitz's first reaction, his first contribution after what Stolas has said, is to completely flip it because he doesn't believe, like I said, he doesn't love himself, so he doesn't believe that he's good enough. And therefore, he takes it as, oh, it's just some roleplay that he's doing. And obviously, we can scream and shout at Blitz all we want, but really, what else was he gonna do? He's at a point in his life where he's had such a terrible upbringing, which has caused him to make terrible decisions, which has caused him to have even more bad experiences. He can only make decisions based off of his experience and the knowledge that he holds and understands. So we definitely can't blame Blitz for this. It's 100% a mix of both while also being none.
Thank you, Blitz, for awakening me or making me so happy.
And you see how Stolas puts that hat back on and he corrects himself again. He's like, for awakening me, he's like, no, none of that. Just one thing, for making me so happy. That's what I want you to walk away with. And the wonder is back in Blitz's eyes. The light. Stolas is the light in his life, but he just doesn't want to admit it. How unfortunate. Not even that. Even more than unfortunate. This scene is perfect. I can't. This scene is too good. There's no way I can keep... I'm going to keep going, but God, this is so amazing. Anyway, you see how Stolas puts that hat back on and the eyes on his hat as well, just as his lower two eyes do, show sorrow on their own. They don't even need eyebrows for this. You know exactly what the emotion is that Stolas has, and it's a bit of relief, slight disappointment, 25% happiness, and a whole lot of bittersweetness. Is that even a word? Who cares?
Even if only for a little while.
Even if only for a little while. Jeez, that hit hard. Anyway, I just paused it there to not get copyrighted, I'll be honest.
I wish you the best with your business.
Wait, what? You were serious?
As we know, Blitz doesn't believe that Stolas cared for him. And the fact that he's now walking out saying good luck with your business, because to Stolas now, he thinks that Blitz doesn't want it. And now Blitz knows that Stolas does want it. It's a real conundrum. It's as if things have completely flipped on their heads. Though it is a valid argument to say that Stolas didn't give Blitz enough time to think. And he says that. He says, can I have an effing minute to think? Because he doesn't get that since Stolas just walks out because he himself is distraught. And in this moment, because you can get caught in the moment, he thinks about himself more, despite the fact that in any other situation, he probably would have listened to Blitz, but in this situation, he's looking down on himself and saying, Blitz doesn't want me here. He thinks everything's a joke. He thinks I'm a joke. So now Stolas has some insecurity about himself because the guy that he cares about, in his eyes, doesn't care for him and thinks he's a joke.
Oh, hold on now, Stolas. What the fuck?
Now there it is. This is where it starts. Blitz is getting really upset, and the only way that he can express that is with extreme anger.
Half my answer, Blitz. You needn't say anything. I have wanted you for so long. The fact that you couldn't believe that I might have these feelings about you, that your first instinct is that it's always about sex.
That's really unfortunate from both perspectives. Blitz thinks that Stolas only wants sex, but then Stolas, knowing that he doesn't want that, and trying to drop any hints that he can, but not enough hints, he doesn't give enough previously for Blitz to pick up on, because every other time that he's been with Blitz, he's acted the same every time, and it's just, well, you know how Stolas is. And though it is valid for Stolas to think this, and say that he can't believe that Blitz didn't pick up on these things, there's also the other side, the retrospective view, that says, well, you've just dropped this whole massive bomb on him, he needs time to think, and therefore he's gonna fall back to his comfort zone. But they're both in the moment, so they don't think rationally. None of them do, neither. It's really upsetting.
That's enough to know what this is.
What? Fuck you, Stolas. You spring this feelings bullshit on me. Are you fucking kidding?
So Stolas is walking away holding himself because obviously he's upset, and Blitz's instinct is obviously to get angry, and he does, rightfully so. There's my opinion. Rightfully so. 100%. Stolas did just spin all this feeling stuff on him. Didn't give him enough time to think and walked off. Though this could have been handled better, Blitz is completely in the right because his whole life he's had to respond with anger to everything. So it's immediately going to be his first reaction. And the things that he's saying through that anger are correct. That he needs a minute to think. It's just the direction he goes about it. Neither are the victim and neither are the perpetrators. They're both in the wrong. They're both in the wrong in many different ways, but they're also both not in the wrong. I've said this the whole video. It's confusing, I know, but it's true. You can't say one's in the wrong and the other one isn't. You can't say they're both in the wrong or they're both not, because it's a mix of everything. It's a complete collection, a concoction of different things, different emotions, feelings, and actions that they just can't be pinpointed down to one singular statement or phrase.
Can I get a fucking minute to think after everything you put me through, you pompous, rich asshole?
Can we just take a minute to applaud both actors in this scene? Brandon's doing a great, dude, I need a word. Brandon's doing a phenomenal job of this, as is Bryce. The way they embody their characters and their emotions in this scene is out of this world for me personally, as someone who doesn't consume that much media. And to see now that Blitz is spilling everything out, calling Stolas pompous, rich, and asshole, he's completely lost it because of all this confusion in the air right now. He's reacting in the only way that he can because he knows he has to react, but he doesn't know what with, so he just defaults to whatever comes out, which is obviously anger in a lot of situations. And to see that the lighting in this scene is red, blood red. Red symbolizes danger and anger. That's exactly what this scene is. It's dangerous. It's a dangerous, toxic environment, and it's also angry because Blitz is filled and fueled by anger at this moment in time. The lighting, I mean, we're not even going to talk about the animation. The animation and the light and everything is phenomenal, but the way that they use the lighting to convey emotions completely blows me away.
Treat me like one of your little butler imps?
Now he's comparing himself to the butler imps, to the slaves of the Goetia, the ones that Stolas gets along with the most more than his own family. But Blitz doesn't know that. He just sees them all being treated like crap all the time, and he sees himself as that butler imp, as that tiny, insignificant speck of dust whose only purpose is to serve them, to serve the royals, the people above him. They're both being extremely self-destructive at this point in time. It's upsetting for both parties, and you can't help but sympathize for both.
You can't just dismiss me like that. I mean, you royal fucks think you can do this every time.
First thing is he says, you can't just dismiss me, which is true. Stolas can't just walk off. He's got to listen and take the criticism. Stolas, what are you doing, dude? Now, like I said, they're thinking irrationally, both of them, so they won't fully understand this yet until the retrospective afterwards, when they realize I shouldn't have said those things. But we all do this. We say things in tense situations that we regret later on. Further relatability from both characters here.
Like you can just play with our feelings because we're smaller and not as important.
I find it really interesting that Blitz seems to have this kind of history with royals. Just like Stryker, why do they both hate royals? What's with that? I think we'll learn about this later on down the line. A past experience that's traumatized him, therefore he now views Stolas as just like every other royal that he may have interacted with, right? But I'm not going to go too far into the theory because that's not really my realm of expertise. But I will say that I think something's gone on in the past that's made him view Stolas like this. And also the visuals here with the chandelier that they used to play with as kids from the circus. We see this chandelier and how it used to dwarf them. Now it's all covered up and symbolizes their relationship. It's enshrouded by something. In the chandelier's case, it's this piece of plastic or whatever. But in their relationship, it's the negativity and the toxicity. The chandelier is their relationship and it's being covered by all the toxicity and all the negativity that's in it. And all they have to do is yank down that cover, take it off, and show their true colors to each other and be honest. This relationship's not going to work unless both parties are going to be completely transparent with each other. Stolas is trying right now. Blitz is in a situation where he physically can't and mentally can't because of how scarred he is. Not to say Stolas isn't scarred, but we've seen more of Blitz's past because he's the main character. And also the fact that everyone deals with trauma in a different way. But overall, I'm hoping to learn more about that later down the line.
Well, I'm not letting you, bitch! Let's go!
He says that he's not letting him. Blitz says that he's not letting him do this. He's not going to let Stolas treat him like crap and dismiss him. He's going to make himself known. He's going to get his point across, which he does in a very angry manner, but not fully. There's more to it than give me some time to think. He's got stuff going on that he also needs to explain and get out there. There's a deeper reason why he doesn't want to be with Stolas or try and understand his point of view a little bit more. And as we see in Truth Seekers, he's afraid of getting too close. He's afraid of getting attached because something's happened in his past that's caused him to feel like trash. That's so stupid.
Blitz.
Wow. Just saying, wow. The animation there of when he says Blitz and his mouth just drops. Like, we can't see his eyes. We can only see his mouth and beak. It just drops. That is direction at its finest.
I think so very highly of you. I didn't realize you think so low of me. Goodbye, Blitz.
So there it is. Stolas says it. He gets upset and he cries because he can't believe that Blitz is so broken and so hurt that he views anyone of higher status as this horrible stereotype. It genuinely hurts Stolas to think about and breaks him so much that he unfortunately has to kick Blitz out because of how upset that he is. And honestly, dude, I feel so sad. It makes me sadder analyzing this. Like, I was so in shock and denial when I first watched this and the reaction. I didn't fully grasp how big this was and how sad it makes me now. The way that he says goodbye, Blitz. Oh my god, Bryce, man. Oh, okay, come on, keep going.
Stolas, wait!
And there it is. Blitz was going to say, he was going to be like, I'm sorry. He had a realization moment. He realized that he effed up, you know, and he says it now. It's, what the frick? He realized that he screwed up. And as soon as he was ready to say something, even if it's just a little thing in relation that he could have said to lighten the mood a little bit, try and soften the pain for Stolas, he didn't have enough time to say it. And that's all it really would have took. It's just a sorry and a little bit of understanding. Unfortunately for both parties, it ended as quickly as it started. Really upsetting. And I think Blitz speaks for everyone when he says,
What the...
Do you agree? I agree. God, that was so heartbreaking. That was amazing. Oh my god. How long is this video? I've been recording for 2 hours. How long did I chop it down to? Let me know down below. I often say I know. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed. Click a video on screen that best suits you. The one on the right is picked by YouTube just for you. And the one on the left, that's my most recent video. And I'm so excited to do some more analysis videos. These are phenomenal to make. So happy, beautiful, wonderful, every single adjective I can think of. I'll see you guys later. Stay positive. Goodbye.